Good morning. Holy moly, I have a hot mess around me. My dog was on this blanket not 30 seconds ago. And I was like, I'm not going to move her because what pet parent moves the pet when they are comfortable, right? None of us do. So I was like, I'll just leave her here. She can be in the background, never mind the blanket. And then she gets up and leaves. And so now I just look like I did not tidy the background, which I guess I didn't do those. I did move that one so it actually said Merry Christmas instead of was laying down. But here we are. Oh my word. Oh my word. I'm having one of those days where like the lungs haven't started working yet. Um, as an asthmatic and someone who's allergic to everything, that happens every once in a while. Like I woke up and like you could feel like I can mostly breathe, but like at 4 o'clock in the morning when I woke up, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. every day for the past like 3 or 4 days. Have to pee, and then I get too hot. Here's what I've determined. I need like this a middle of the night fairy to show up and like rejigger my blankets and everything while I'm asleep. Because here's the thing, y'all know that I'm always cold. Which means when I go to bed, I have to like have the blanket and the pajamas and the slipper socks and the multiple blankets and all those things on top of me, right? And that's the only way I can fall asleep. I have to feel warm enough to be able to fall asleep. The flaw is that in the middle of the night, I get too hot. And so I need somebody like a fairy to be able to come in and be like, remove one of the blankets and maybe turn the thermostat down a degree or two in the middle of the night to keep my temperature regulated. Because otherwise I get up and I'm too hot, but I can't fall asleep without all that stuff or I'm too cold. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, what was my point? I don't remember what my point was. I got up at 4 AM. Oh, and I noticed that I was just a little bit, mildly congested. Like, you know how it's like you don't have full airflow, but you have just mildly inconvenienced airflow, and I was like, "Oh, good. Lovely." And then I'm waking up this morning and I'm like, "Come on. Come on. You could do it." Once I take my allergy pill, I'll be fine, but I like to take it with food. And then I get too hot and then I get too cold again every night. Every night, this is what I do. I flip off the covers and then I end up just cuddling with the covers. And then eventually I get too cold and I got to put them back on. I need like a temperature regulated bed where if I can figure out what temperature I need to fall asleep, then if I start to overheat, it like turns on the air conditioning. That's what I need. I haven't even checked to see Aura Ring does track your temperature. What is that under? Readiness. And my temperature is up, which is not surprising because of where I am and it's not up as high as it has been in the past. The last 3 days, I went highest, middle, and then today was actually the lowest. Um, but I'm also in my luteal phase, which means my temperature is supposed to be higher, right? So it's fine. Happy Wednesday, y'all. How are you all doing today? I see the crowd is small this morning, but that's okay. We are small but mighty. I don't have, that's not true. I was gonna say, I don't have anything profound to say today, but that's not true because I somehow managed, good morning, Amberly. I somehow managed to come up with something semi profound every time I do my morning pages. And I did morning pages this morning because I've been getting up about half an hour earlier than normal. Shout out to Sleep Cycle. um, I don't think it's an accident that I'm waking up about a half an hour earlier than I have been once I changed the setting on my Sleep Cycle app and actually turned on the right alarm. Um, regularly, it's between 6:50 and like 7:05 is when I've been getting up. And that's with a 4 a.m. middle of the night get out of bed instance. I'm good aside from a little fatigue that I can't shake off. I'm still in bed feeling worse than yesterday. Probably be here all day. Just sleep it off, man. Hydrate, all the hydration, all the hydration. Vitamins, 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 vitamins. I know some people are like, vitamins are just expensive pee, but they're supplements. I like to take vitamins and make sure that I am topped out. I am maxed out at where my body needs the vitamin levels to be. Um, And now that I say it, I'm gonna jinx it, but I attribute my, um, religiousness of taking vitamins and supplements to my immune system that is generally very, very good. And now that I've said that, I'm gonna do something stupid like catch COVID. But, like, so far so good. So far, I haven't even caught a cold in, like, since the pandemic started. I might have caught, like, a mild cold, like, super mild, because I think my husband brought something home when he went to Oshkosh in July. He brought something home, and I think I caught it, but it was so mild that I'm like, "Is this allergies or am I sick?" I don't actually know. Like, I have no idea if I'm actually ill or not, and I think I caught something, um, but, like, it was so mild that I barely had to take any meds for it. I took some meds before bed to make sure I could breathe, for, like, 3 days, and that was it. Never say that. I know. I know, but, like, it's true. I'm very focused on making sure, especially vitamin D. Um, I go on and off with vitamin B supplements because I have to watch my vitamin B intake, vitamin B6 specifically. And what else do I take? So I take vitamin D and vitamin K regularly. I take a multivitamin that has everything in it. If I really need a boost, I take vitamin C as well. And then it maxes out my body, and whatever I don't use, you pee out, and it's fine. Um, Working on the hydration. It's hard when my throat hurts, but I picked up some seltzer and kombucha. I take a multivitamin every day. Good. Good morning, Donna. Happy Wednesday. So, the profound thing that I came up with while I was morning pages writing this morning, I was talking about how while I'm here, it's very like it's so hard for me to be on track regularly. It's so hard. And then I get frustrated and then I feel puffy. And then it just like there's a billion sweet things in this house, a billion, and it's not my fault. I didn't bring a single one of them into this house, my willpower is a finite thing. We have studies about that, right? That willpower is a finite thing. So, like, I there are days that I do real good, like, I have a little sweet treat for lunch, I have a dessert for d after dinner, like, it's fine, but having access to it all day. Rosie, good morning, good to see you. It's just exhausting. And then on top of, like, feeling fluffy and not getting all of my steps in regularly and not working out regularly, I just feel bleh about myself. And I'm in my luteal phase, which doesn't make it easier. It makes it harder because I'm fluffy anyway, right? Um, so today I was like, I need to like the innate desire in me is to be like to dial Mindy and be like, "Can we cut early?" And we're not gonna do that. I know we're not. She's gonna say, "No, no, you're not gonna do that. You still have a month of maintenance left." Um, but that because that's the desire, I got to thinking, right? And 2 things came out of my morning pages this morning. The first was, but like we have about a week and a half until we'll be home. We will be back in Minnesota on the 26th. So the vacation period, the time of being out of routine and being out of control. I also learned today in my morning pages that I am a control freak. Apparently, I'm a control freak. And I don't know if that's an innate Enneagram 9 characteristic or not, but because they like to be in their routines and in their places and have their little bubble, it makes sense that I would be a control freak unless I willingly give up control of something. Like where we go for dinner, I don't care. I couldn't care less. That's something I'm willing to give up control, but then there's also things that I'm not, and I have a hard time when I don't have complete control over those things. I was like, "Oh, I'm a control freak. I didn't know that." Like, amazing, right? Good morning, Kim, and coffee on the ready. Same here. Cheers, y'all. Um, but so I realized I'm in the indulgence mode and enjoying it. I'm planning to ease into the good habits on the 26th and the 27th. Yep. Um, And for me, the problem is I'm not enjoying it half of the time. It's just because it's there. Last night, we needed a quick dinner because the chicken that we planned on making didn't thaw right. Yesterday was a day, y'all. Yesterday was a day. I vlogged about it. You'll hear about it soon. Um, Forgotten things at Target, like, oh gosh, it was just a thing. And my water bottle's blinking at me. It's doing a disco. Here it goes. Oh, now it's gonna stop. Of course. Um, but the and now it's going again. I don't understand. I don't understand why it's dancing. Um, the what was I saying? So our original dinner plan, our chicken didn't thaw in time. And this was after we had left it out for a while, like a whole thing. So my mother-in-law was like, "Well, I still have leftovers from lunch. We went out to lunch yesterday at the tea room, which was delicious. A big meal, like a 5-course meal, but like the courses were real small, like a teacup of soup, a very small spinach salad. So like you felt satisfied and full, but not overly stuffed, even if you had soup, salad, scones, entree, dessert. Like everything was very reasonably portioned, which I enjoyed, because then I got to eat all the things, but I still didn't feel like I had completely overstuffed myself. So it was a well balanced meal. And so ultimately, our dinner plans were thwarted, but my mother-in-law's like, "I still have leftovers. Um, your father-in-law's not gonna be home until late because Tuesday's his late night. You and Eric can just figure something else out for dinner and it'd be fine." And so I looked at my husband, I was like, "What do you want? I have to go back to Target because of the thing that didn't end up back in my car. Let me pick something up." But the Target here is terrible. It's not like my Target that's a super Target and I can go and like literally get a rotisserie chicken if I wanted it, you know? Which I wouldn't have gotten anyway because we're having chicken tonight. But I ended up he's like, "Well, what about chicken sausage and we just throw it in some mac and cheese?" Which is something that I had mentioned earlier in the week. And so I was like, "Fine." So I made a box of Velveeta shells and cheese because that was already here, and we each had 2 of our Gilbert's Caprese chicken sausages, crisped up in a pan and thrown in there, and it was amazing. But as I was eating it, I'm like, "This feels so delicious and comfort foody." And it's definitely not something I'm gonna have regularly while I'm on my cut because it's very heavy. But it was also really high protein, like, just little things like that. Like, it wasn't an intentional, "Here's your vegetable, here's your" Tonight, we're having that meal, though, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited. All of that to say, just with all of the things, right? Um, Target rotisserie chicken, yeah. Super Target rotisserie chicken. Rotisserie chickens, sushi bar, like, oh gosh, do I miss my Target. I miss my Target. I love having a Super Target 5 minutes from my house. It is wonderful. Um, but I as I was writing things out, I'm like, I am so ready to just not to be completely in control of my food, of my kitchen, and like the price I'm gonna pay is I'm gonna be in winter, but I will have 'em all like it's all about what I want to bring into the house and exclusively what I want to bring in the house, exclusively what I want to bring in, what I want to cook for meal plans. My husband couldn't care less what I make for food as long as it's healthy. So I'm in total control of what comes in the house. And, then I realized, I was like, How many weeks do I have to last until I actually get to cut?" Right? Because 'Cause I'm getting anxious, I'm ready to do it. From the Monday that I get home until the Monday of my cut is 4 weeks. So I'm like, "I have 4 weeks to continue to eat in maintenance, but be in a well-controlled, clean, whole foods, getting that fiber goal, getting that water goal." Although, thanks to this thing, I've actually been getting my water goal. Um, Hitting my protein goal and getting the steps in and regularly working out and getting into my routine. I have 4 weeks of that before the cut even happens. And a lot can happen in 4 weeks. I can get rid of what I've deemed the Florida fluff, without even cutting calories. Because I'll just clean things up. I'll be more moving. I'll be all of those things. And yes, I'll be cold, but I will be in control of all of the things. And I was like, that it made me feel so much better to be like, I have 4 weeks to get my act together before the cut even starts. So, and it'll just kind of get me into the back on 140 grams of protein religiously because I know that's going to be my protein goal when I cut too. And so then starting the cut won't feel as dramatic because I will already be doing all the vegetables, all the protein, all the clean foods, all the things, and feeling really good about it. And it just kind of eased my mind a little bit that I was like, "Oh, I've got 4 weeks to be in the healthy mindset completely while still in maintenance calories," which is awesome. And it just made me feel so much better. I'm like, "Okay, you only have a week and a half left of this, during which I will be PMSing. I will get my period. My period's due like Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to me." Um, And then I'll get home and, my period will be ending, and I'll just be back to normal, and, it'll all happen at the same time, which will feel really good. So that was revelation number 1. Do you know where your need to control comes from? Firstborn perfectionism, you know? I'm a textbook firstborn child. Um, Target with a sushi bar. So it's not like a walk up and the lady did tell me I could order whatever I want if I ever caught her eye because she was there preparing it. But there's literally like a fresh made sushi section, and it has that poke bowl, rice bowl, like salad thing that I pick up a couple times. And the one time the lady's like, "Do you need? And you want me to make you one fresh?" And I asked her for more protein, and she literally doubled the protein for me for no cost. But there's always fresh made sushi at the Target, and then there's this whole, fresh deli counter, and then there's, the deli counter where I go and, when I'm being fancy, I get the boar's head or the Applegate meat freshly sliced instead of going and getting the Good& and Gather lunch meat, and then there's a little bakery section, like in a regular grocery store, an ample produce section, fancy cheese section. My Target is the bomb, and it has an Ulta in it now. I never wanna leave this Target. If we ever go somewhere else, I wanna bring this Target with me. It is the greatest Target. Like, a lot of people make jokes about how, Target has everything. Mine literally has everything because it has a substantial grocery store. If I go nowhere else, I go to Target, and I can get anything I need. It's awesome. Um, I didn't mean to copy what? That's funny. When I lived near Super Target, they weren't like that. Back then, they were ones that sold any groceries, all regular Target. And regular Target didn't sell food at all. High protein is my biggest challenge. 100 grams pretty easy. Beginning to 130 routine is tough. I love my carbs. Yes. So what you got to do is because honestly, changing up and hitting your protein goal is game changing. It is game changing, and it's the thing that people are like, "Well, I I I can do it, but I love my carbs. I love my fats or whatever." And here's the thing though. That's great, but in order to get the change you want, you have to make change. I just had this conversation with somebody who did a discovery call with me the other day, and her issue is also carbs. She loves carbs. And I was like, this is good information, and I'm not telling you that you can't have carbs, but you have to remember that if you have a goal and you want things to change, if you want your body to change, you have to change what you're doing, because obviously what you're doing does not work. Right? So, and it's a tough pill to swallow. It is, and it's something that I'm also it's when I cut, my calories aren't gonna be a drastic cut or anything, because my BMR is 16 something, so, I'm gonna be at probably around 1,800 calories. It's not dramatic, but when you've been hanging out at between a 2,000 and 2,200, it's gonna feel dramatic, especially knowing that my fat and my carbs are gonna get cut, and I have to keep the protein with the lower calories. It's gonna feel a little bit dramatic to begin with. It's gonna feel like, oh, I can't have my afternoon dessert and my evening dessert, little things like that. But the reality is, I have a bigger desire to change this than to eat the extra dessert, than to eat the extra carbs, than to eat the extra fats. I can save myself the tablespoon of butter and do something else, if it means success on my macros, right? If you want something to change, you have to make change. That's the end of it. So if you want composition change and your protein goal is 130 grams, you have to sacrifice something to get to that 130 grams. My Target has minimal grocery, and I question how much I trust the refrigerated section. We have a big Walmart though. I need to control also makes sense from an obliger Enneagram 9 perspective. It could be subconscious thing from the obliger rebellion. Yeah, I don't know if being in control is an obliger thing for me. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just know I know for me it's a security thing. If I'm in control, I have more power to make sure things go my way and that I am comfortable and I'm doing what I want to do and I'm not inconveniencing anybody by it, you know? Whereas here or in any other situation, me expressing my desires could create something that feels like conflict. So, um, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also the truth that comes to play in so many things. Nothing will change unless you change it. Our super Walmarts aren't impressive either. Choices regarding protein versus carbs. I said the same thing. I can't get that much. Now I average 135. That's right. Kim learned how to do it. And it takes a little manipulation. I have a bigger desire to change than to eat the extra this or that. Yes. Yes. Okay. So here's my profound thing. Me figuring out that I have 4 weeks in maintenance to get my butt back in gear once I get home was not the profound thing. Here's the profound thing. I went back to it's that simple. I just have to keep the promises to myself. Blah 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 blah. Back in the whole keep promises to yourself thing. And so the other day when I did this, I wrote down like the simple promises that I had to keep to myself. And there was a list of like 4 or 5 of them. And like, if I can keep these promises, then everything falls into place. Today, I figured out the singular promise that if I keep this promise, everything changes. Everything. The singular promise. And I'm not going to word it as well as I worded it in my morning pages. But it was like the one thing that I have to do. I promise to regularly make the choice to take actions towards my goals and to consciously choose not to take actions that don't align with my goals. Something like that. So literally the only promise I have to keep is if it aligns with my goal, do it. If it doesn't align with my goal, don't do it. That's the only thing I have to do. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? And if I keep that promise, I'm making better food choices. I'm moving my body more frequently. I'm working out despite the fact that I don't really want to. You name it. You name it. I promise to make choices that align with my goals and to avoid making choices that don't align with my goals. That's all. That's the only promise any of us has to keep to ourselves. That's it. Simple. Good morning, Janie. Good to see you. Way to come in during my profound moment. That's what I came up with today. And I was like, once I wrote it out, I kind of stopped and looked at it and I was like, huh, that is very different than me saying, I promise to eat 140 grams of protein today and to not break that promise. It's very different because it gives me the power to choose, right? It gives you the power to choose. Every single choice I make, I can sit on the couch and scroll Instagram, but I promise to not to do things that don't align with my goals. So therefore, I can make the choice not to do it, right? It's a summary promise. Yeah, it's just like that one thing can apply to any goal. It can apply to any goal you have. I promise to make choices that align with my goals and to avoid making choices that don't align with my goals. That's it. So for everybody, that applies. For Kayla, when she is confronted with the option to have a high protein snack or a high carb sugary snack, all she has to think about is I promised to make choices that align with my goals and to avoid making choices that don't. And that gives you the power to keep that promise, right? For people with work goals or time management goals, it all works. It all works. Um, and it made me so happy to just come up with that. I tell you, man, I keep telling you about the morning pages, and there are many days that I don't do them. There are many days I don't want to do them, but I was like, I was up early enough this morning where I'm like, I have no excuse. Poured my coffee, sat down and did morning pages. And every time lately I sit down, and even though it just starts as a rant, it's literally just a rant, something positive comes out of it. Something profound, something inspirational, something that leaves me set and feeling motivated for the day comes out of my morning pages practice. I don't know, y'all, but it makes me feel good. Um, all right, let's do our word of the day. I did, in fact, not look it up again today because I was morning page doing. So we're going to look it up together, which is fine because I do a lot better reading the typed out text than I do reading my own handwriting, because my handwriting is literal chicken scratch. A chicken could probably write cleaner than I do, um, but it's all good. So today we are in John 15. We've been hanging out in John lately. John 15, words of Jesus here, folks. Words of Jesus. 12 through 14. 12 through 14. Another one we should all know. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. Yep, that was it. Short, simple, literally the golden rule. Let's see here. Do our cards. We're going to do our cards. Our faith action item for the day. Choose and read a book that will help you grow your faith or spiritual life. I actually have one. I think it's a faith book. Oh my gosh, what is it called? I have one that I'm going to start reading in the new year. Let me look it up. It's on Scribed. I can't remember. I can't remember who I heard about it from. I feel like I heard about it from Lakin. No, I heard about it from the Paper and Glam book club. That's what it was. It was like their proposed book for like January 2023 or something. And I saw that it was on Scribed, and I'm like, well, I'm going to make it my book for 2022 to start the year. Let me find it because I want to get the name right. Titles I've saved. Where are you? Rhythms of Renewal. Trading stress and anxiety for a life of peace and purpose. Rhythms of Renewal. Trading stress and anxiety for a life of peace and purpose by Rebecca Lyons. That is the spiritual book that I'm going to start. There's a couple of other ones that I have saved on Scribed as well. There is a Rhythms of Renewal study guide that's going to pair with that very nicely. We have Free Fall to Fly. I don't know why it's not Free Fall to Fly, a breathtaking journey towards a life toward a life of meaning. I have Straighten Your Crown on here in an audiobook. So I've got some, You Are Free. So Rebecca Lyons has several things on Scribed. And so I just kind of tagged all of her things. And a Surrendered Yes. 52 devotions to let go and live free. So apparently I'm going to go on a Rebecca Lyons kick. And so that's my spiritual book. That's my spiritual books for the new year. I also plan on rereading A Year of Yes, which was our book club book for January of this year, because I really loved it. And I was like, this is a book that I should pick up and just reread every year. And Lazy Genius. I plan on rereading Lazy Genius because I loved it. And then in March, I think her new book comes out, Lazy Genius in the Kitchen, which seems very appropriate for me to have this year. Our wellness goal is a mind goal. If you'd like to get up earlier, try moving your alarm by just 15 minutes tomorrow morning. Gradually increase it until you're at your desired new wake time. Do we have a book for January yet? No, April. So I meant to tell you all this, but you must have missed the announcement, is the book club. This was the last month for book club. We have a book for this month for December, but we're not meeting about it because people are very wishy-washy about Dave Hollis. But for those that wanted to read it, I was like, December, the month that we're not going to meet, is the best time to do it. But there hasn't been enough consistent interest in the book club. So the book club went on for like a year and a half, I think. So I'm thinking about doing like, I'm going to do some like Brianna's bookshelf videos and stuff in the future where I'll tell you what I'm reading and what I thought of all of it and things like that. But the book club just didn't have enough regular, consistent participation for it to be worth doing. The book club basically ended in October. Yeah, because people were like, nope, didn't read the book. Nope, didn't read the book. Nope. So, which is fine. People had other priorities. That's not a big deal. But I'm not going to keep pushing to do something that nobody is participating in. So, if down the road, a year or two, book club, the idea for book club pops back up or something like that, it is something that we can revisit. But it fizzled out. So, which is fine. I have a lofty reading goal to do on my own this year. So I'm going to be reading my little tail off and I'll tell you all what I read. So, and then maybe like as I read and accumulate more knowledge and read varying types of books, maybe I'll have like a 10 self-help books that I recommend reading, or 10 spiritual books I recommend reading, or 10 fiction books, or whatever the case may be. By the way, I am loving the holiday swap book. It's super cute and I'm really enjoying it. I have lofty goals too, so that works for me. Yep. Yep. So 2022 is the year of us focusing on our lofty goals. I'm excited. I'm excited for 2022. All right, my friends, if we have nothing else to discuss, I'm going to let you all go. This was good. I have a lot of things that I need to do today. I have nothing else on my calendar, but a lot of things to do. It's that kind of day. Gotta get that workout in, get those 10,000 steps. Y'all, I'm so bad at getting the 10,000 steps. I'm so bad at it. I don't know why. I used to be a champion. 2 books a week. I wish I had the I do have the time. If you have the time to do 2 books a week, I have the time to do 2 books a week. But, like, for me, that makes me go, "What do I have to get rid of in order to do 2 books a week?" I would love to do 2 books a week, but it feels like a lot. But if I start getting involved, like, I read for an hour yesterday without even trying. Maybe it's possible. I don't know. But I'm bad at getting my steps in. I don't know why. I'm a step champion. I used to be a step champion. So it's just all of these little adjustments that make me go, again, my new philosophy. Shout out to the music people who just sang something in their head. My new philosophy is I promise to make choices that align with my goals and avoid making choices that don't align with my goals. And that's the only promise I have to keep. So, Susan, hello. Glad you popped in. Unfortunately, it is the end of our stream. All right, friends, I will talk to you all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Take care.